You say no to presents and the festive Christmas wreaths. There's a party in my home, but you'll have to stay home alone. A sad menorah for you. Why don't you do Christmas?
Anyway. Hello, guys. How are we doing? Has anybody learned any Christmas magic, any Christmas tales they'd like to tell? About forgiveness and friendship? Well, 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 it is I. Hi, Runs. Runs just wants my popcorn. Don't be naughty, Runs. Thank you. I do, on occasion, dress up. Now, just to give everybody a little recap, let me turn that down a bit. Excellent. So, a little wipey since I have popcorn all over now. But everybody that voted, or rather didn't vote, on the holiday movies we'll be watching after stream. Hopefully, we can get to our goal early. Then we can start our movies at 9. That would be super good. But right now we're doing a push to affiliate so that we can be affiliate by the end of the year. And regardless... Oh no, I don't think it went through. It probably did get through, it just didn't ding on my end. There's a delay when this thing starts up for whatever reason. But anyhow, we are trying to get to affiliate so I can schedule these bonus streams because for whatever reason, Twitch wants this to be as difficult as possible to let you guys know what's going on for who knows why. So regardless of if we hit affiliate today or not, we will be doing a holiday movie night. And we're starting that off with Violent Night, which is a holiday action movie that you guys suggested. And then after that, we'll be watching Better Watch Out, which I think is also like Christmassy, but it is, I think, a suspense horror, something like that. And then after that, we will be doing a classic. I think it's like a 1970s Frosty the Snowman. So that was my contribution. We're going to do Frosty the Snowman after all that as a little palate cleanser. But how about you guys? How's your Christmas Eve going so far? I got so much done, you guys. I'm feeling so pumped right now. Bottom. You always pick the bottom. Alright, for your pass, we've got... Basil. Nice. Now, Basil is one of my absolute favorites, just generally, but this card is Prosperity, Luck, or Love. And I feel like I'm getting like a really strong love vibe off of that. I'm not really sure what the deal is with that, but that's what we've got so far. Then, your present, we have... Crazy. Preserve, Security, Forethought, Thrift. Okay, I'm getting Forethought off of that one. Ugh, the little chipmunk on that is so cute. Such a little cutie with his jam jars and stuff. And then your future, right? Earth. Peace and grounding. So... I don't know, I'm getting 2-man vibes off of this. I don't know what the deal is with this, but is there something you haven't been telling the group? Max? The cards don't lie. But yeah, I'm getting love, forethought, and grounding out of this. Did you go on a date with a hippie girl and not tell us? Are you going to go on a date with a hippie girl? That's what I'm getting out of the cards. That's what they're telling me. But I went to go see one of my hippie girls because I'm an auntie yet again, which I'm very pleased about. We got some swag. She makes these wonderful little lanolin balms, which I've been like super craving. Then this smelly strawberry candle, which I don't know how she know that I've like been very into strawberries lately, but it smells amazing. It's like, have you guys ever had those like strawberry cream like hard candies? It's giving like strawberry cream. Delicious. And this is all soy too, because she's a natural girly. And then she made me these cookie crisps, which are delicious. Normally she makes these big gargantuan like buttery cookies, which by the way she doesn't write down the recipe, which is wacky to me. What is with this like crazy like situation where nobody writes down their recipes? Does nobody catalog what they cook? It's so wild to me. I need to know like precisely to the millimeter like how many carrots I put into a stew. Fair enough, you don't want to kiss and tell, I get it, but I don't know, no, but I know. And these cookies are phenomenal. They're like, they've got like a snap to them, kind of. It's like the texture of shortbread. But like I'm also getting like a little bit of a baklava like vibe to this. Which makes sense. It is our friend Ju Max's wife. Delicious. And they just came out with a holiday album too, which is pretty raunchy. If you guys want to check that out, I'll put the link. Some of it's pretty wild, I will say that, but they have this like unique talent for making me like super into songs I would not think that I would be into. The Christmas one is my favorite, but they have some pretty good bangers in there too. I really want to play the Screwing Around with Another Man one at the holiday party. It's not like relevant, but I'm a little bit of a shit starter. Oh, these cookies are fantastic. And so just to circle around to what we were up to yesterday, I dropped snacks off to Torta's house. And hubby made 2 giant boxes of Rice Krispies. Like 8 Rice Krispies. And I send them over. And Torta keeps 4 of them. Sends 3 over to my tia. Crazy, right? And then Tia's like, oh, you didn't send enough Krispies. And I'm like, I'm bad at math, but I'm not that bad at math. Talk to your daughter. So funny. But she made these adorable Grinch cookies that are now gone. I should have taken a picture of them, but I didn't think that they would go so fast. But it's like this little, it kind of looks like kind of like concha bread. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but like the little colored breads. Yeah, concha. It looks like that, but green. So it's got kind of like a wrinkled texture to it. And then it has like a little like iced on little heart for like the Grinch's heart. So cute. But it was really good. And hubby ate almost all of the cookies. I was like, oh my god, where have the cookies gone? I looked down in the basket. There's like one cookie left. And I gave that cookie to my roommate. Because I had a cookie. Hubby had a cookie, which means he ate all of the cookies. Delicious, delicious cookie. I'm gonna have to hide these. These are so good. I'm normally not like a huge fan of like Christmas snacks. I like giving them out. But as far as receiving them, like I'm just not like super big into sweets, which I know is shocker. But like I don't think I've had pie in like a week. And cookies, like I think ideally I would have like maybe like a dessert once a week or something like that, I think. But the holidays you just get like so overloaded with sweets. However, that coconut cake that I made with mother-in-law, phenomenal. I don't know if I told you guys this, yes, but I'm telling everybody. So this coconut cake was immaculate. It came perfectly risen, which I know is probably lost on a lot of people, but like cake doesn't just like evenly rise. You have to like manipulate it into rising evenly, or you have to like then freeze it and like level it after before you put like the frosting coat on and stuff. So it was a Christmas miracle that this thing even came out as evenly as it did. And then in addition to that, it was like perfectly moist. Like not quite sponge cake, but like almost like angel food consistency, but like with the like in between like a pudding cake, like a Boston cream pie situation, and like angel food cake, like in that like realm of dessert. And then I almost think I kind of ruined it by putting toasted coconut on. So like if I had a winter birthday, which now I do, my most recent nephew was born on I think the 6th of December, maybe somewhere about, maybe it's the 5th of December, but like first week of December. So now for birthdays, I will be able to make this coconut cake, and then I will make like little, I'll whip up like, you know, some like gray icing, and then I'll put like little snow boot footprints across the cake, and then a little, is it a zinger? Is that what that is? Like the little like snack cakes that are like rolled in. Oh yeah. You said you were gonna remind me last shift. So I would make like a little snowman on the end of that. But the tea with the girl from college. Okay, so I've not had one girl tell me that she's pregnant and like think it's gonna be like that I'm gonna like solve this for her. I've had that happen twice in my life. I've had 2 different girls be like, I'm pregnant, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. So picture this: a young, fresh out of high school Byrd. I know, shocking. And because this was like over a decade ago, which crazy, right? So I move in with this girl because I'm like, oh yeah, no big deal. Like she works more than me and she gets paid more than me. So like obviously she'll be able to pay her rent. Absolutely not. My logic was sound, but I did not account for you know, street nonsense. So I move in with this girl, and like 3 months in, I find out that she is in a weird love, not a triangle, a parallelogram, because she is not only hooking up with this like Latino guy, this like gassed up white boy, and also this other white boy who I went to kindergarten with. Like, isn't that crazy? I think the way that we knew each other was when I was in kindergarten. I bit him because he was like pissing me off or something, and I lost my tooth, and so I didn't get like fully in trouble for that because I was like, nah, like I lost my tooth. Like, he was actually pretty chill about that. But we had some childhood schoolyard disagreement, and I bit him, like hard bit him, and like lost my tooth. And so everybody just kind of glossed over the fact that I bit him. And years later, he's like, "Oh my God, Byrd, it's you!" And I'm like, "Excuse me, like, what are you doing in my house?" And he's like, "I remember you." And I'm like, this usually doesn't go great. So anyway, she's in a relationship with this dude. We'll call him Paint Can, I guess, for sake of argument, because he has like a giant tattoo of like a comic like spray paint container that's like alive or something. That's like the only thing I remember about this guy, is that he has this like wacky tattoo that I absolutely hated, couldn't stand. It's like, why would you put that? It's huge too. It's like a giant tattoo of this like cartoon spray paint thing, and I'm just like, why you would tattoo that on your body forever? You have some demons, my dude. So she's dating these 3 dudes. By the way, they live like completely different sides of the state, so I will give her that. Like, oh, there was another dude. She's dating 4 dudes. That's why I remember it being a square. So the Pentagon of nonsense begins. And the other guy, by the way, fresh out the pen, like, I don't know, like maybe white passing Mexican or something like that. This guy was crazy. This girl had like demons for real. And so she's in this like weird Love Island situation. And I'm like, guys, I don't get it. Like, I wouldn't touch her if she was the last woman on Earth. And she's not like, I guess she's not like a giant ooze monster or something, but like she was not my type at all. And hubby's always teasing me because he's like, your type is like shocking. And I'm like, first of all, be nice. Be nice. I like goth chicks and women with an attitude, okay? But this girl was neither. So she starts having these crazy house parties and stuff like that. And at one point she invites like 3 of these 4 dudes because the other guy has her car in like Boise, and he's at a strip club, and he's like spent all of her money and all the gas. That's like a different thing. It was just like such a wild, crazy thing. This girl, by the way, not a stripper. Like, this is just like some regular bitch that's just like getting into these shenanigans. And honestly, she should have been like, I think she probably should have been locked up like a pound animal, because like this is like oh, it'll come to me. She's like a menace to society. So she invites all 3 of these dudes over, and she's like, you know, I'm wanting to get, you know, plowed or whatever. And it's just these 3 dudes, like just Spider-Man pointing at each other like, oh, who's your boyfriend? And I'm sitting there like, are you guys kidding right now? Like, what's happening in my living room? So then after this like nonsense night of like, you know, who's in my mouth or whatever, I guess, that they're playing, because I was just like so horrified, shocked. My ex at the time, he's calling me, like I'm at my work, and he's like, please, Riley, like they're about to run a train on this bitch. I'm scared they're gonna tag me in. Like, can you come home? I'm scared. And I'm like, first of all, you're a 22-year-old man, you'll be fine. And I just hang up the phone and take up another shift, because I was like, not it. I'm not dealing with none of this. And so I get home, and she's like, I can't pay the rent. And this is like the second time she's come up with this. And the first time I said some very mean, probably illegal things to her. And we won't get into that on cam. I'll tell you about it if you want, if I'm not being recorded, I guess, even though I'm certain that this is online somewhere. And she's like, I can't pay the rent. This is the second time this has happened. And I'm just like, well, you're going to pay the rent or you're going to get out of here, because like, I'm not dealing with this. And she goes, but Riley, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, bitch, and it's not mine. Like, what do you think I'm gonna do about it? Like, either get someone to pay your rent or like get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm not dealing with that. That ain't my baby. just because you name it Riley doesn't mean it's Riley's. You might need to get out of this apartment. And so then she like disappears for like 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh no, maybe somebody like murdered this chick. Because she is, once again, I would like to reiterate, a menace to society. This girl is doing the wackiest, craziest shit that in my life I've never seen the likes of again. And I worked with like down crazy strippers. Like, and they were not even getting up to nearly the shenanigans that this girl was getting up to. Our neighbors fully thought we were running a brothel out of our apartment. And I had to explain that to my grandmother. I'm like, no, not I. My boyfriend's right here. My boyfriend is terrified. Look in his eyes. He doesn't want to be more than 3 steps away from me. He is traumatized. And he used to like be a ski instructor in Arizona. So he was like, this girl is terrifying me. And I'm like, he's seeing some shit. I'm not asking him about it, but like, this is clearly outside of the realm of like normal business. And why that guy was terrified of me, I'll never know. But I'm sure you guys will figure it out. No, I wasn't. Don't say I was running one of those, because if I did, it would like unironically be the tightest ship on the planet. Let me be clear. Like, they would not be fucking around on the clock with me. However, I was not doing that. So, thank you. Hey, just so you guys are aware, if you want people in on this tea sesh, we're trying to get to affiliate. So actually, it would like unironically be so peak if this is what got me to affiliate. Me just like absolutely crashing out. No, it would be like so squeaky clean. Like these bitches would be trying to run game on me. I'd be like, absolutely not, Martha. You better get back in there and get that place ship shape, or I swear to God, Martha, you're gonna be eating nothing but plain mac and cheese for the next month and a half. High quality host. No, because sometimes like people are just like fucking around, and you can't let people fuck around like that. And I know that the US government probably disagrees with me on that, but like I've done the research. Like I know what I'm about. Okay, I've done the research. By the way, if you guys ever want to read a good book about down low bitches, you should check out Pimp by Iceberg Slim. That is the first book I read before I got into the adult industry, and highly recommend it, because like people are so much worse than you could ever possibly imagine, and it was important to know that before putting myself in like a potentially dangerous environment. Like, you gotta know game, because I was not gonna get tricked again. This bitch was my first introduction to nonsense, and I was not gonna have that happen twice. So it happened a great deal more times. However, not to this level and not to this extent. I was never again at a financial disadvantage because of a hoe. And I think that that's important to know. Anyway, back at the topic at hand. She tells me she's pregnant. She goes missing for 2 weeks. And I'm just like, oh shit. But this hoe has pissed me off so much. She accused me of changing the locks on her apartment, but just had like shitty like... Oh my god. Guys, you can't be typing that into chat. I'm pretty sure Twitch like screens this. You can't be typing that. You've got to be a little bit more discreet about my hypothetical nonsense businesses that you would like me to be running. That's insane. Although, this is not the first time people have told me I would be very good at that. So, I'm in this apartment and like, oh, yeah, let's chill. Don't make Twitch like just axe this right before I get affiliate. Please, I beg of you. So this girl, I'm just like fresh off of like a double shift, and this would have been in the summertime, so I had like a bunch of other shit I would have rather been doing, but I didn't know how to swim, so I wasn't getting invited to a ton of parties. So, and I was mean. Like, you guys think I'm mean now. I was so much meaner like back in the day, because I did not give a singular fuck. Not one iota of a fuck did I give back then. I was just like, yeah, what about it? Like, figure out the rent, bitch. Like, you're not gonna live here for free. And she fully believed that there would be very lasting, very damaging consequences. Yeah, I know how to swim now, kinda, but I didn't know back then. I grew up in the desert. So she tells me she's pregnant, and I'm just like, listen, I don't care about whatever is going on over here, but you're gonna need to figure this out, because I'm not figuring it out for you, and if I do, I swear to God, it's not gonna be good for you. So the next day, I come home from my double shift, again, I'm in the desert. I don't know how to. There's sand everywhere. What was I supposed to do? Just like imagine drowning? No, thank you. So I would also blame my cousin for that, but that's a story for another time. So we go. I go to work. I come home. I can't. My key's not in the lock, and I'm not happy. So I call my boyfriend up because he's at home, because we have a thing at this point, because this girl's been doing so much shady shit that I was like, we have to work opposite shifts. Like, you work these days and I work these days, because we both work nights. So I was like, you work these days, I work these days. At no point is this hoe in our apartment by herself, because she is moving sideways and I'm not dealing with that. Do you love it? This is the one I made for Squirrel. I almost put the little green one, but I just feel like the red one was just more of like the Christmassy vibe for Christmas Eve, you know? So anyhow, I get home from work and this girl accuses me of changing the locks, because she's like, well, obviously I told her I couldn't pay rent, so she's like changing the locks to lock me out. And I'm just like, you better get this crazy bitch away from me, or I am going to D1 crash out and it's gonna be bad. And my boyfriend's like, no, please, like, I beg of you, like, we cannot have the cops called here. And I'm just like, you better keep this hoe away from me, or it's gonna look like an episode of Cops, like, real quick. Like, you gotta keep her away from me. And then she disappears for 2 weeks after that. And I'm like, okay, well, at least I didn't attack her, because that would have been very, very bad, just generally. And I come to find out that she's shacked up with one of those 4 dudes. Obviously not the criminal, because that guy had no money. And she was like, oh, like, he's my sugar baby. Like, I'm a sugar mama. I'm like, bitch, you don't have any money. Like, how are you sugar momming this dude? And I'm like, oh, that's where the rent went. Because this guy would take her car, and he would drive to the city. He would spend all his money on hoes, and then he would call her up and be like, car's out of gas. And then she would Western Union him money to fill up the car, and then he would drive the car back to her, car out of gas one more time. And so I'm just like, how did this girl not drown in her own amniotic fluid? Like, what are you talking about? Like, how does she remember to turn over and not choke to death in her own pillow every morning? Like, this is probably one of the dumbest people in my life that I've ever met. I'm like, this is insane to me. This is crazy. And I'm looking sideways at my homie too, because I'm like, you're hitting that? Like, this is crazy. He's like, well, you're off the menu. And I'm just like, crazy. So I'm like, dude, like, she's seeing like 4 other dudes. Like, at this point, like, because we know each other from back in the day, like, I'm gonna let you know that you are not gonna make this my problem. Like, you're not gonna confront her in my apartment. And if I tell you to, like, drag her out of my apartment, you're not gonna, like, switch sides on me, because, like, I will tell your mother. And he was like, well, I'll tell your grandmother what you... I'm like, I could care so much less. Like, I really could. And she ends up moving out with the only one of those 4 dudes that would raise that baby. And then, unfortunately, this is the sad end of the story, but that gentleman is no longer with us because she probably drove him to insanity. And the moral of this story is that if the government had locked her up for being a menace to society well before, none of this would have ever happened. That same girl also, in the midst of this, before she was like, I'm pregnant or whatever. And she, by the way, she still has no money for rent. So she's like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run an illegal daycare out of our apartment without consulting anyone, right? It's just me and her. So she really just should have been like, hey, Riley, can I do this? And I'd be like, absolutely not. Figure out a different strategy. So she takes this one girl's kid. We'll call her, I don't know, Lisa or something, because I can't remember her name. I never learned it. So Lisa and, we'll call him Steven. Lisa and Steven are a young married couple on the rocks. And she tells Lisa, I'll watch your baby so you guys can work on your marriage. All the while, she's fucking Steven. She is watching this woman's child, and that is a guy that's coming over later to do these, like, weird menage a trois unbeknownst to this mystery woman that I've met her, but I don't know her name or anything like that. I don't know her number, none of that. So she's like doing this weird, like, dirty business all behind the scenes. And me and my boyfriend are asleep on our, like, ground level mattress, because I was, like, in the trenches, poor. And one morning I wake up to the sound of, like, a baby crawling around, and instinctually I shoot up like the dead, because I was like, that's not a normal sound for me to hear. That's crazy. And there's just this abandoned child on my floor in my very much not baby-proof department. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So I take this, like, Hangover style baby. So that, like, gave me, like, traumatic flashbacks when I watched that movie, because I was like, oh no. And people were like, that's not realistic. And I'm like, no, not baby-proof everything, Max. That baby had no business being there. I should have called the police. I should have been like, there's a stranger's baby here. I have no idea where it belongs or where it goes. But the humanitarian in me was like, I still need to, like, feed and clothe this baby. So I call up the only person that I know at the time who has a car seat, because I have no car seat. I have a stick shift. So I'm just like, hey, can you, like, come over real quick? I need help taking this, like, random baby to the store, and I need nobody to ask any questions, because, like, I don't know what to do. And so I take this child in, like, a Def Leppard t-shirt and a soiled diaper to a store, and I'm just like, this is not happening. Like, this is not real. This is crazy. And so I take this baby to the store, and I get it, like, diapers and food and stuff like that, but I'm just like, this is bananas. I'm also like, this is, like, my last $20 also. Like, I'm, like, so crazy poor, it's ridiculous at this point in the story. And so I just have this, like, random ass baby, and my boyfriend pieces out immediately. He's like, I'm not gonna be around this baby. He takes a shift immediately at work. He's like, I'm having an all day long alibi. I don't trust anybody involved in this. You're the one that's gonna be found with this strange baby. And I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. Can't fault him for that. And so I'm just like, no, not noodles and rice, like ice soup. It was bad. In hindsight, if I'd known how food banks worked, I would have been so much better off. Because what I thought in the past was that you had to, like, this is stupid, but this is kind of like my understanding of the world at that time, because I didn't understand how any of these programs worked or anything like that. So back in the day, I thought you had to, like, prove you were homeless to go to those things. I didn't understand that, like, literally anyone could go to the food bank. Like, even if you don't need to go to the food bank from, like, a reasonable standpoint, like, even if you have, like, a 6-figure job or something like that, you can still go and do that. They have no idea. They don't care. So I'm just like, oh, okay. Because I didn't think I qualified. I was so dumb, you guys. I literally just fell off a turnip truck. I had no idea. I was dumb and mean. But, however, the point of this part of the story is a strange baby was foisted upon me, and I still cared for it as though it was my own. I was like, this baby needs to be clean, this baby needs to be fed, and this baby needs to be cared for before it either goes to the authorities or back to its mother. And I'm just like, because my original thinking was, I'm pretty sure my roommate knows whose baby this is. She's not picking up. I know when her shift gets off. So what I'll do is I'll wait until her shift gets off, because it's only 6 hours, right? So I had this baby for, like, where was hubby at the time? Hubby at the time was a full-on adult in, like, Las Vegas or something like that. It would have been a crime if I had known him at the time, I think. But all of these stories, he's like, oh my God. Like, anytime I tell these stories at, like, a party or something like that, he's like, she's a rescue. It's fine. And I'm like, I am a rescue. Because seriously, my life has improved, like, so much more with him in my life. Because he's just like, how did you even find yourself in these situations, you silly little toad? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know at all. But the fact that I would care for a strange infant is something that he put in the marks for pro instead of con. So this baby, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna care for this child, because, like, the alternative is to what? Not do that? Like, how do I know that the cops are gonna, like, wash and clean this baby or something like that? No, absolutely. He had to make sure I had all my shots and everything. So I have this strange baby, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And my roommate comes home with the wife, and I'm like, who the hell did she think was caring for this baby the whole time? Because there's no diapers, there's no food, there's no diaper bag and I tore that apartment apart. I was like, maybe I'm just not seeing it, because I'm just like, what's going on here? So I'm pretty sure that what happened is my roommate just like tricked me into watching this baby for her, and then she got paid, and it only cost me money to care for this child. But I was like, don't you ever bring this child here again. This is not where this child goes. And also, I'm pretty sure she's fucking your husband. So you go and deal with all that. I don't ever want to have no idea. Like, because what if that baby had like an allergy or something like that? Like, what if that baby was like deathly allergic to polyester or something? And I have no idea. You know, I should have taken that baby to the fire station, because I think that somebody would have raised that child better. But hindsight's 2020. You know what I mean? Like, that's such a wacky situation too. Like, I don't think a normal person would know how to deal with that situation. You know what I mean? Like, because that's very clearly something that should be addressed. But, like, they don't teach you that in school. Like, if you ever find a baby, that's not normal, right? Oh, crap. I don't have... You know what? I'm going to get some milk. 1 second. But yeah, so that's the story of that crazy girl that I lived with in college that tried... Oh, the second time. So that crazy girl tries to be like, I'm pregnant. And I'm just like... And that's after I had to deal with that, like, mystery baby. So I was like, okay, so this girl can't even take care of a stranger's baby, and somebody knocked her up. Like, once again, this woman is a menace to society, and somebody should have dealt with that. Like, that should be like, isn't that like a criminal offense or something? That's crazy that woman's just allowed to like prowl the streets. That's insane. Danger to herself and others. And then the second time, I was on my, I think he would have been my second boyfriend, and I just broken up with him because he had, like, I think I've complained about this before, a time capsule. So this was after I broke up with Time Capsule. And I was like, okay, well, everybody thinks that I'm just trying to hook up with this one guy. And I'm like, that's not the case. Me and Time Capsule just, like, aren't working out. And, like, other people want to hook up with me. And I get that, but, like, if there's some sort of weird, like, widow period where I'm not allowed to hook up with other people after my breakup, like, socially, if that's the case, I'll just wait out that period, I guess, because it doesn't matter that much to me. So I go over to one of my homegirls' houses that I had previously been romancing, I guess. And I go over, and I'm just like, yeah, me and my boyfriend broke up. I need a place to crash. And she was like, okay. And she's, like, she's pretty faded at that point. And I'm like, okay, cool. And we're sitting there, and she's getting kind of, like, flirty and, like, grabby. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Sick. Didn't know this was what was going to go on. And then she goes, I think I'm pregnant. And then, like, proceeds to, like, just retch. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's crazy. So I like turn her and I get somebody else at this party because I'm just like, yeah, this is not the vibe. She clearly needs somebody to like attend to her, and like I'm not that person. Like kind of made it like, once again, at this point in my life, I was a little bit more of a scumbag than I am now. At that point, I would have just like cared for her, you know what I mean? Obviously, but it just like felt so slimy to just be like, take care of me. Like I'm just like, I'm not gonna be like, I'm not. And I think maybe it was the trauma of that first girl of me being like, oh, you're not gonna make me the baby daddy, and I just like immediately try to like phase shift out of the room because I'm like, absolutely not, no thank you. So what a wild time. I think if my spouse dies, I would probably just be sealed in the tomb personally, but I mean, that's just my spouse, I guess. But I feel like if a relationship has been going poorly, I don't think you necessarily have to wait unless you're the type of person that needs to wait. You know what I mean? Like, for example, when I broke up with Time Capsule, him and I had been at odds for like 6 months. And then I was like, Riley, that's crazy. 6 months is like that's half a year to like not be pleased with someone, basically. And then the next person, I was like, I gotta start cutting these timelines down because like time marches on, you know what I mean? So then the next guy, I was like, I have a 3-month window of like things have been going poorly and we've broken up, and like if they're trying to do this weird will they won't they thing with me, that is not my problem. I'm very clear with people. I'm like, this is not the vibe. Like we're no longer together or whatever. Like, you know, you can still live here because I'm not trying to like throw anybody out on the street because I'm not a monster, but like we are separated, like point blank period. We're no longer together. Like, don't be trying to like be all like huggy, snuggly, and none of that stuff. This is not like a, oh, and then like in a month or something we'll rebound. Like once I'm done, I'm done. And unfortunately, that's part of the reason why my Instagram was private for so long, because like they can't handle that. And so I've been like low-key kind of like cyber stalked before about those kinds of things. And I'm like, to the point where like I got invited to this wedding one time and they told me I couldn't bring a +1 because they were trying to like parent trap me and Time Capsule back together. And I'm like, one, you're doing him a disservice because like a lot of the reasons why I like the relationship didn't work out is because I was like kind of coddling them because I loved them and I didn't want to be like, hey, like your life is gonna turn like to shit if you don't like figure these things out, because that's kind of like an abrasive way to approach someone. So I'm trying to be like, hey, you know, these are some things that you should probably work on, and I'm bringing this to you because like I love you and I don't want you to like have, you know, a harder time than necessary or whatever. But like once I broken up with you, I'm like, I fucking told you like 90 days ago that like if you don't wash your dishes, I'm not gonna be your maid. Like, this is crazy. You're providing like very little financial stability in this relationship, and I'm doing like all of the emotional legwork, and I'm autistic, so this is like a lot of work for me. And it seems very obvious to me that there's like a disconnect between like how much we enjoy each other. So this just needs to like naturally dissolve. Like, you know, here's the division of our assets, and I basically fire them from our relationship because I'm like, I see no way for this to move forward. You're gonna have to go to a different company. Like, my hands are tied. You know what I mean? I have to think about the investors, okay? I have to think about, you know, no, I guess it wouldn't be the council. What would that be? My shareholders. I have to think about my shareholders, like the people that rely on me for me to like not be a burden to society. Like, this is not gonna work out. Me being a scumbag is like pretty deep lore, actually. I was not a nice person in my 20s. I don't think. Even in my teens, like I was kind of going through some shit, and I think that if I had a time machine and I could go back, I would probably be nicer to some people, but other people I just like wouldn't have. You know, I would have protected my energy a little bit more, and I just wouldn't have associated with a bunch of people. And I think that would have made it much easier to be like just a more nice and genuine person, because when you're around people that are like bad for you and not compatible, I think that is like just generally kind of a bad thing to do from like a conservation of energy kind of aspect. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's crazy. But I think if you ask like a character witness, here's the thing though. For all of these tales of Riley being a scumbag, I don't have not a single ex-boyfriend that wouldn't have crawled through broken glass to get back together with me at the time. And I think that that speaks volumes to like who actually was the problem in the relationship. And I'm not going to like dox any of these guys or name names or stuff like that, because I assume their prefrontal cortex was also developing at the time. So like bygones or whatever. But at the time we were just like, and luckily there's not very many ex-boyfriends, so it's like way easier. Like the sample size is very small, you guys. So it's like probably a faster growth period, I think, than some people get. Because if you date the same person, you're not going to get like the best like data pool out there. But I try to not make the same mistakes. So, you know, I tried dating a guy whose like family was well off, and we were just super incompatible because our morals just like didn't align. Like he was just like very flippant about finances and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, like you still have to be responsible. Like even if you could like be bailed out at any point, like it speaks to your character how you deal with these kinds of problems, like how you deal with fiscal responsibility, like speaks to who you are, not so much like the family you brought up. And like that we were at odds about. And then another guy, he just like he was nice, but he lacked ambition, and he didn't show up for himself or others. So the fact that he was deeply in love with me was like kind of a moot point. You know what I mean? Like that future is not real. You know what I mean? Where you are dating someone and the idea of them is what you're in love with. Because me, actually, I'm too type A for that kind of shit. Like he wanted to live in this little cottage, and like he was going to just like, I guess, flip burgers for the rest of his life. And I'm not saying that that's not a good goal for certain people, but that's not a good goal for me. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that there are plenty of people that would be like just fine with that, but you can't like squash somebody into the mold of what you want for your future, which is why it's like super important to talk to those, like talk about like your dreams and like your ambitions and stuff like that. Like when you're in the dating phase, because if you're not honest with other people, like for example, if you find a goth baddie and she wants to live in the city, but you want to live in the country, and that's like a fundamental part of who you are, you can't just like trick her into living how you want her to live. That's wrong and will cause you problems. So I approach my relationships with that aspect, where it's like, if we don't have similar goals, this isn't going to work. And what usually happens is I get into relationships with a guy and they're like, yeah, I'll do that. Like, that's my goal too. And I'm like, okay. And then I check in like every 30 to 90 days. I'm like, is this your goal? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, according to I pull out my clipboard. I'm like, according to my progress report here, it says that you haven't completed steps 1 through 9, haven't even actually looked at the list. And then over here, when it says if you filled out this form to say that this is what's going on here, you haven't done that. So I just like, if you were an employee, I would fire you. Like, do you see where I'm going with this? And then they're like, no, it's cool. Like, time is an illusion, babe. And I was like, yeah, this isn't working. Like, no amount of like A-tier piping is going to resolve these problems. Like, I mean, like, how hard is it, right? By the way, remember we're trying to do affiliate. You might need to hop on the Twitch if you're going to be lurking, my dude. Twitch does not count YouTube views, unfortunately, as much as I wish that it would. And you get channel points if you watch on the Twitch, so you can, like, redeem those for cool little fun things. So, like, I dated this one guy, and I think I've told you guys this story, where I was dating... Oh, you're on both of them. Oh, that... Damn, that's even worse. That's crazy. Alright. Nobody likes our tea sessions, unfortunately. Crazy. I guess maybe I should, like, amend our Twitch. What is dragging my views right now, Twitch? What's going on? You know what? Maybe I put this as a tea session or something. Oh, the averages are so bad on Christmas Eve. That's crazy. Where's Stream Manager? Okay. Did I accidentally put it in Last of Us or something? Nope. E-Sesh. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Okay. But yeah, so the first guy was like, I was so into me, but I was mostly into just Brave. I'm not sure what you mean. Maybe the beginning of your thing got cut, but the first guy, I told you guys, I think I ended up dating that guy just because his cat had kittens, which is pretty crazy, but on brand. I'm very into TNR researching, you guys, and if that means that I have to date a guy to get animals proper care, that is something that is on brand that I have done. However, this, like, super nice chick that I went to communications college with, she also was hanging out with that guy. And I was like, girl, I gotta break up with this guy. And she was like, oh no. I think I've told you guys this story. She's like, oh no, I can't believe you're seeing that guy. I'm seeing that guy. Don't hit me. And I was like, girl, I don't care. Like, I haven't cared this entire time. As long as you're not like, I want those cats or whatever. And then I tried to break up with that guy twice, and he was like, nah. I was like, what do you mean, nah? What do you mean, nah, I can't break up with you? That's crazy. And then I called him. We're both sitting in this beautiful rose garden, which was actually kind of romantic, low-key. I'm just like, yeah, so, like, we're both, like, going in a different direction. I'm going in a direction without you in it. And I just see us both, like, seeing other people. And it was crazy. Funny enough, he was half black. So, I don't know if that's a cultural thing, Max, but he was not about to get rid of his bunny. And I was like, listen, dude, it is not that serious. First of all, this was, like, such a high school type of relationship, too. Like, we weren't even doing, like, all that. I think we hooked up, like, one time. And he was just like, this is my girlfriend, this is my girlfriend, this is my girlfriend. I'm just like, dude, first of all, I don't think that you, like, have it all together enough to, like, deal with what's a brewing up here. You know what I mean? Because, like, I don't think, like, trauma necessarily matches. Like, if we both had, like, traumatic, like, backstories with our moms and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, but, like, I need an amount of efficiency in this relationship that you're not, like, providing. And so I'm gonna have to, like, we're gonna have to end it. And he was like, no, it's cool. Like, it's fine that I like you more than you like me. And I was like, I gotta go to work. Like, because I was like, what I'll do is I'll break up with him, like, 30 minutes before I have to go to work. And then naturally, I'll just have, like, a way to leave this. Because I'll be like, I have to go to work. And everybody knows that, like, I don't play about work. So that'll just be, like, a natural end to this breakup. But instead, he was like, no. And so then I get to work, and, like, all the girls, and a couple of, like, my guy friends that I'm gonna have to work with know that I'm breaking up with that dude. So they're just like, and I'm like, yeah, he said that we aren't breaking up, so I don't, and I'm just sitting there just kind of, like, shell-shocked. I'm like, yeah, he said no, so I didn't know that was an option. I thought you just said, I guess thanks for the opportunity, sucks it didn't work out. I didn't know you could just skip this dialogue scene and just stay in a relationship. That's crazy. Anytime I've ever tried that in a game, it doesn't work. So I don't know what exactly is going on here. And then I ended up dating that guy for like another 2 weeks because I like still couldn't wrap my head around the fact that he was like, no, we're still together. And I'm like, so if I conduct myself like we're not together, then I will be punished socially because he insists that we're still together. And I didn't record that conversation. That was my bad. I should have just been like, no, like, listen to the tape. Like, I broke up with him. Do you not hear it? Like, listen right here. Right here at the 1 minute and 35 minute, the like, you know, half-hour mark here. That's me breaking up with him. You see, you hear the audio, and then immediately after you hear him say, no. He really said, no takesies, backsies. And I was like, okay. And then I finally had to break up with him over the phone because I'm like, he can't like pull that Jedi mind trick if I'm not there, right? And so I do finalize like breaking up with him. I'm just like, okay, like sign here, initial here, like we're broken up. I guess it was crazy. It was like, and also this was like, we dated for like a month. Like when I explained this to hubby, he's like, yeah, that doesn't even count as a boyfriend. I mean like a real boyfriend. Like how many real boyfriends have you had? And I was like, a couple. And he's like, yeah, I don't think any, like, have you dated any actual adult men? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, no, this is ridiculous. And then he brings out his ex-girlfriends, and I'm like, oh, those are threats. Those are like a threat to my like existence. Oh my god, like these women have careers. Holy shit. And he's like, well, I mean, I am older than you. I'm like, well, of course, you fucking fossil. That's crazy. But like all my ex-boyfriends, like he met my like ex-boyfriend from high school, and he was like, damn, bitch, you're just out here doing charity, huh? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I came from a broken home. I don't know what to tell you. And so then he just started introducing me as his rescue, and it's our favorite bit. But it was crazy, absolutely crazy. So then I dated a guy. Oh, nuts. So crazy, these people. Anyway. But I have been stalked online before by some of my exes, so, and I don't think, like, for the most part, it's malicious. I think it's just, like, sort of that, like, melancholia of, like, damn, like, that sucks. That could have been me. And, like, I don't have any, like, ill will towards, like, that kind of situation. Like, I guess I get it. I don't look up my exes, though, unless I'm like, did you mean this person? This person is who you were talking about? Like, and I guess I think maybe one time I've checked out to be like, hey, this person's, like, doing okay mentally, right? Because at one point I was like, maybe I'm just, like, MK ultraing these people in a bad way, and I'm setting them out there and they're, like, becoming nuisances or something. I had, like, a thing where I was like, maybe I'm putting a bunch of villains into the world, and that's not good. Because I worked with a bunch of people that were creating supervillains based off of their, like, broken relationships. And I was like, ooh, I hope I wasn't doing that. Maybe now that I have the clarity of a fully functioning, like, brainstem or whatever, maybe I should just make sure I'm putting good out into the world instead of, like, wreaking havoc. And for the most part, like, it's just, like, kind of neutral. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're doing great, but they're not doing bad either. And I think that that's kind of the most you can hope for. I hope they're doing good. I hope that they have a moment of clarity and they're like, I do want my life to be better and for things to be going well. Third podcast session, Strayhart. I think even if you listen to my old podcast too, that's still my sentiment. And I will stand 10 toes down on that. That I don't wish my exes the worst. I wish them to be better than... I try to leave things better than when I found it. You know what I mean? I try and dress it up a little bit. All my apartments have had nice, pretty flower beds after I leave and stuff like that. Because, like, I'm not trying to, like, fuck shit up for another person. I don't have that, like, kind of evil in my body. There's different evils, surely. But I'm not trying to, like... gift someone a bad time. You know what I mean? I want them to... And, like, if I'm gonna have to break up with someone, like, I might as well, like, raise someone else's son a little bit better than they did. You know what I mean? Because that's like the future, you know what I mean? They could potentially be creating the future. So I don't want them to be like broken men that are like, you know, causing external traumas in people, you know what I mean? So, but the last one that I broke up with, and again, like a decade ago, like, get a life, you know what I mean? His baby mama has stalked me several times on the internet, and that's partially why my Instagram was private for so long, is because, like, they just, like, could not get their shit handled. And I was like, you know, listen, like, we broke up, mine lost your gain, whatever. Like, why would you, like, be on my stuff? You know what I mean? Like, it does not make any sense to me why you would be player hating if this guy's so great. You know, first of all, it's not like I set you up with him. You know what I mean? Like, if he's not treating you right, that's not my fault. I wasn't like, you know, I don't know, what's a good name? I'm like, listen, I guess Brenda or whatever. I wasn't like, hey, Brenda, date my ex. He's like, you know, he's a real great time. You know what I mean? Like, if I had done that to someone, that kind of animosity would make sense. Because I have in the past, like, if I hooked up with somebody and things, like, just didn't work out, we just weren't compatible or whatever. I've had, like, because I worked at the club and stuff like that, and people will be like, hey, like, you know, I'm seeing this guy or whatever. And I was like, oh, cool, yeah, I know him. And they're like, oh, so do you want me to not date him? And I'm like, no, he's, like, not my boyfriend. And, like, you'll have a good time. Like, and I know that that's probably, like, a weird stance to take from it, but 3 streams away from a 20 streams. Hey, you'll get a 20 stream streak by the end of the year for sure. I think we've got at least that many left. So you'll end the year on a 20 stream streak. That's great. But, you know, it'd be one thing if I was just out here, like puffing girls up with, like, my exes that are gonna do them dirty. That I would understand. Them being like, how dare she? She said he was great and he caused me all kinds of problems. Like, that would make sense. But I didn't send him to you. You were digging through my leftovers. It's not my business if you get a meal you didn't like, okay? There's a reason I'm not continuing to eat it. So, you know what I mean? But, you know, and in the past I have been like, you know, hey, if someone wants it, it's on the market. I don't care. I'm not jealous. You know what I mean? No, I'm not jealous. Like, once he's a free agent now. I've always said that, Max. Don't you try and get me in trouble. I've always said that. If I'm not with them, go for it. Because if I wanted them, I would keep them. Right? You know what I mean? I'm not in the habit of giving away my toys if I like them. So, if set him free, you know what I mean? My ex-girlfriends, same diff. Although my ex-girlfriends, I will say this, I am a bit of a misogynist. Because with my ex-girlfriends, I did pad the breakup time. You know, like, I gave it like twice as long of a window for ex-girlfriends. Because, I mean, I just think girls sometimes say things that they don't mean. And I like to give them a bit of, like, wiggle room to be like, I didn't actually mean that. I want to get back together. Because I, I'm a bit of a romantic with women. Fucking is what it is. Yeah, like that one girl that I was dating that I was just like, yeah, we're just not compatible because I am a wrathful demon and you are like a sweet, cuddly little baby deer. And I just don't think that this is, you know, I don't think this is good because it seems to everybody else in this room that I'm going to grab you about the neck and drag you up a tree and consume you. And I just don't like that kind of Nat Geo vibe to our relationship. It makes me feel like maybe evil. So I think I should just let you go. You know, catch and release. I just don't think that this is compatible. Now, the darker side of me doesn't really care about that, but I just don't think that that's like good to put out into society. So like, we're not compatible, unfortunately. You're a lovely girl, but it just isn't what it is. Whereas a guy, I'm like, I gave you a checklist, you didn't do the checklist, like, get the fuck out, dude. You know what I mean? Because I think part of it is I view, which this is crazy, I view men as more of my like equal as far as like how we're conducting ourselves, you know what I mean? Because like if I tell a guy, hey, this is what's up, he's not like reading into it. So when I say, I don't like when you do this, he's not, if he's being genuine, he's not like, what could she mean by that? You know, I don't play these like weird little games where I'm like, I mean, it'd be really cool if you came with me, but like, I don't care if you do, I guess. If you want to just play Madden with your friends, that's fine. And then like get mad after. Like, I don't do stuff like that. I don't like have whatever developmental thing you have to have as a girl to like do that, because that is a type of code that women do that I just never, I don't understand it. And I think that has contributed to why it's so difficult to have relationships with them, despite my best efforts. But with a guy, if I tell you something and I'm like honest about it, like for example, this is one of my favorite stories. When hubby and I got together, I said, I would like to clean this rifle. And what I mean by that is, I want to clean this rifle. I do not want you to clean this rifle for me. And if you attempt to do so, I will scream. And he's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, but I don't know how to clean this rifle. So I need to be able to ask you questions and to not have you then just take it and do it for me, because I will freak out. And he was like, yeah, sure. And then I got gun oil everywhere, which is predictable, perhaps, maybe. But I did offer to replace that rug. And I think that was a pretty good cornerstone for our relationship, where I'm like, I expressed a need, and he listened and responded to it, and then he did what I asked. And I was like, okay, perfect. Whereas I had another ex where I was like, hey, I need you to cut this at a 45-degree angle. I am not allowed to use power tools that can cut off my limbs for cosmic reasons. So I'm too clumsy for that. It's just not, I have to have adult supervision for specific power tools. It just is what it is. I know that about myself. I'm not dexterous enough to like wield them, nor do I have like the forearm strength to like manhandle like a drill, or not a drill. It's like the thing with, okay, it's the one that is supposed to have a guard on it, but I've never seen one with one. And it's just like a big rotating piece of like what looks to be shale that's like a circle. So like, I think it's just a grinder, right? But it's this big thing that you use to like smooth out the corners of like metal and stuff like that. But I've only ever seen it in this like janky, like horror movie, like setup, I guess. So I'm not using those things. I just think it's too dangerous, and I understand like the ramifications of using it wrong. So I'm just like, hey, somebody who's like better equipped to do this and like more aware needs to use this like dangerous tool. So anyway, I'm like, hey, I need you to do this so that I can then do like the next step of this project. And then he takes this project, does it wrong, mind you, doesn't miter the corners for me, and then just tries to slop this thing together for me. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I'm just trying to do like a simple little DIY craft thing, and you are like fucking it up for me right now, dude. And I like couldn't have been more clear about what I wanted and my instructions for this, and you're just like still not doing what I asked. And I was so upset about it. So those kinds of things are really important to me in like, you know, male-female relationships. But like when I'm with girls, like I've told you guys a story where I took that girl out and she wanted to go to the corn maze, but the corn maze was closed because it was a weekday. And then I was like, no problem, baby girl. We'll just like go to a haunted house. And I knew the haunted house was closed, but I didn't want her to feel silly because her thing was wrong. So I needed to manufacture a situation where I was also wrong so that we could both be wrong. Because that's like I'm sure guys do that to an extent too. Like, if you don't find a girl attractive, like, you don't bomb dates on purpose so that she doesn't, like, feel bad that you don't like her, so that she can be like, he sucked. And then you don't have to be like, yeah, I'm not attracted to you. I thought I was going to be attracted to you, but I'm not attracted to you. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have seen that in action before, and I'm like, this guy can't be this incompetent. Like, this has to be, like, a bit he's doing to, like, help her save face. Which I will say this, I do really appreciate when guys do that. If I see that out in the wild, I'm like, respect, dude, because that was like cool of you to let her save face. Especially if it's something that's like not her fault or whatever. Like you're just like, yeah, I'm just not into it. You know what I mean? Because the alternative is sitting someone down to have a like nice hard look in the mirror at themselves, and that's not necessarily like everybody's vibe of like what they're trying to have for an evening. I think if we all did that, like if that was the norm for dating, I think that we'd be better as a society if you could have like an exit interview basically for a date that's like maybe private so that somebody can like work on it. Like if dating apps, you go on a date and you could just be like, hey, I wasn't real crazy about this. You know what I mean? Like the way she said this, or the way she looked, or the way that he only talked about politics or whatever. Something like some sort of like, hey, this is what I didn't like and this why this isn't going to work, so that people could work on themselves. But the reality of it is people would just get like really pissed off and annoyed and they wouldn't work on it. And then they just like, he's a douche or whatever. Or people would try to use it for like vindictive and be like, she's a fat pig or whatever. And it's like, dude, you went on a date with her. Like if you knew what she looked like and you went on a date with her, like that's on you, homie. Or, you know, he didn't tell me he was bald or whatever, you know what I mean? But if maybe this is just like an autistic dating thing, like maybe this is a thing I should submit to Love on the Spectrum instead, because I feel like, by the way, that's hubby's favorite show, which I will be bringing up once again at the holiday party. I'd be like, oh, so he likes Love on the Spectrum and he's not weird, but I say I like Nosferatu and I'm getting weird looks? Like, it's the same thing. And they're like, what are you talking about? Some of the homies love torches. Yeah, honestly, I get the allure. I worked with this one girl and she wasn't my type, but like her ass just had like the texture of like a honey baked ham. And I was like, I get it. Like, I get it. Like, this girl, like, if I had the proper equipment for this, like, spelunking adventure, I get it. Because, like, I feel like just, like, the physics of that particular region would be very pleasant. So, like, I understand. But also from the opposite aspect, having a torta in my family, I worry very much about, like, the health implications of that. Like, I feel like you can be thick in those places and not make me, like, worried that you're gonna have a coronary. You know what I mean? Like, I worry that they're going to have, like, health problems for that. And I don't like that aspect of it, but, like, having, like, a little bit of, like, you know, grabby areas, I can, from that aspect, I understand. Like, I get the allure. But the social ramifications of that are that, like, when you're overweight, people view you that you're undisciplined and less trustworthy. Now, it's kind of a horseshoe, actually, because if you're, like, very overweight, people know from a distance that you lack discipline. It just is what it is. But also, if you're very, very skinny and you have, like, sores all over your face, I think you guys kind of know where I'm going with this. They also view you as untrustworthy and that you lack discipline. So it's like, you are putting out thousands of years of evolution's worth of cues that, like, somebody maybe wouldn't trust you as much as if you were more in, like, homeostasis. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm saying about that. I'm not gonna get, like, super into that, because I think we're mostly, like, doing, like, relationship stuff here. But I don't think we're gonna get to the goal today, but that's fine. We have, like, what day is today? We have 2 more streams. No, we have 3 more streams. We have 3 more streams till the end of the year. We'll make it. You guys, I'm not real worried about it. You guys let me yap for way too long, though. Let's get to these movies. So, if you're not already in the cult, join the cult. What are you doing? Being in a cult is awesome, especially this one. There are definitely worse cults to be in. This one is peak. So you should join this cult, and you should, join the cult, and then we will be doing a Christmas movie marathon. So right now we're going to watch Violent Night, which is the action Christmas movie that you guys picked, and then we'll be watching, Better Watch Out, which is another like kind of scary. I think it's a thriller. It might be horror. I'm not sure. I didn't pay that much of attention when I was watching you guys' recommendations. And then we'll be watching Frosty the Snowman 2 Headed Off, and then we'll do an intermission in between all of those, just so that nobody misses it. We'll do like a 5-10 minute intermission now that I know how to do that cool little timer app on there. So head on over to the Discord, you guys. Once again, we are doing a Discord. We're doing a Twitch push to get to affiliate by the end of the year, so I can schedule these fun little outings a lot more frequently. So if you watch on Twitch, you get an immediate +1 to the Discord, so you immediately have more status than if you just regular joined. So definitely. Do you use Hallmark Moving Dating for Dating Zero? No, but okay, you guys can have this one for free. So one of my things that I like to do, okay, 2 things. When I broke up with Time Capsule, I didn't have any furniture or anything like that in my apartment. I literally just did like a yoga sort of situation where I had a TV and a stand and then just a big rug and like a dog bed or whatever, because I, didn't have any roommates at the time, so it was just me and the dog. And so when people would come over to my house, there was no furniture, and so we were either going to sit at the like breakfast bar with like these uncomfortable wooden chairs, or snuggle in the bed and watch a movie. So that was pretty peak, actually. That was peak. And then after that, I kept my apartment super cold. And so they'd be like, it's cold, I want to snuggle. And I'd just be like, absolutely. So if you notice that my thermostat's set to 68 degrees, mind your business, have a cold apartment. That's all I'm trying to say. First of all, cuts down on your heating bill. Second of all, increases the quality of your late night interactions. Dude, peak, first of all. In the summertime, I like to live like a lizard. I actually replaced the bulbs in like my nightstands with the little red ones for reptiles, because I like to have like the rays, you know what I mean? Like a lizard. I am kind of low-key a reptile person, straight up. But yeah, like I was so good at dating girls, except the closing part of dating girls that you guys seem to just like inherently know, like when to like kiss them. Because I think at one point I went on a date with this girl and my roommates all came home and they were like freaking her out, like pissing her off. And she like wanted to leave or whatever so that we could be alone. And I'm like, okay, that made sense to me. But then she was like playing with her keys. And I was like, oh, that's that thing like my roommate's girlfriend was talking about when we went on our trip to Salt Lake, where she's like trying to make Wolverine claws out of her like key. Because I walked her to her car. I'm a gentleman. And she's like playing with her keys. And I'm like, oh, she's indicating to me that she wants to leave. And my friend's like, no, retard. She wanted you to kiss her. She was trying to like stall for time so that you would make out with her. And I'm like, well, she didn't look like she wasn't doing like the little triangle thing where she like looks at my face, and she wasn't doing enough of these other cues for me to be like, oh, she wants to kiss me. I was like, oh, she's like anxious to leave, and I'm like rambling. So I was like, okay, well, I'll see you later. And then she scheduled another 6-hour date on my phone, which is, that girl's the whole reason I have a lock screen on my phone, by the way, because I used to just be raw dogging it out there. I used to just straight up have a phone screen that you, I have no secrets, get on my phone. You're the one that's going to be embarrassed if you get into it. But she's the whole reason that I have that on there, because I came out from the bathroom, we had gotten gelato, and she's just like putting herself in my Google Calendar. I'm like, the fuck? Like, why are you in my phone? And she's like, I was just having such a nice time, I wanted to like have another 6-hour date. And I'm like, okay. But it's like, girls do this thing where it's like, are you gay or are you straight? Because like, you're just like kicking it with the homies right now, and I need that like spark of like what are we doing, to know that you've like switched gears, you know what I mean? Because I'm fine with just being your little gal pal. I don't care. Like, the cool part about being bisexual is like, I can be friends with people I find attractive and not try and like slurp them up, you know what I mean? It's very easy for me to just be like, oh, let me just switch that, like, who cares? But these girls are like, they're trying to be buddy, and I'm like, yeah, but because you're buddy, enjoying yourself in my company, you're not switching tracks to, like, I want to go pearl diving, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't understand, like, you're not paying attention enough to like switch cues. Guys are very good at that. I have never been confused if a guy was attracted to me or not, because they let you know. They're like, hey, like, they'll say stuff, they'll just throw stuff out in the ether and be like, you should wear a bikini. And I'm just like, oh, he wants to like look at my ass. Awesome. I've got a fun story about that I can't tell on stream. It's from the Midnight Ballerina archives. One of these days I'll have to like dredge up all those. I had a podcast of all those things, but I don't think I have those out there. We've almost hit, I think, the statute of limitations on that, where nobody would know like about any of these people I'm talking about because of the turnover. So we're trying to figure out. I'll try and figure out like a naughty book of like stripper tales. That's going to be one that comes out, but that doesn't count in the 22 books. I'll write like a tell-all stripper novel one of these days too, because there's only, I think, one other stripper novel in the entirety of the market. It's called Candy Girl, and it was okay, but it's from like the 80s or something like that. We need a new one. Maybe Jax the Stripper wrote one, but I don't think it's like a tell-all about the strip club, I think. But so when girls are trying to date you, they don't like say relation. I do all the time. I told you guys we went to that tournament the other day, and homeboy was not paying close enough attention to his lady, and I was like, here, let me help you up. And the daggers that this dude stared at me, the daggers, because we just went to his wedding, so I'm just like, whatever. But I'm just like, oh, I'll help you up. And she's like, oh, and she gets that little smile on her face, and I'm just like, watch out, dude. I'll straight up steal your entire woman and your lineage. But it's so much easier to flirt with straight girls because like they get to like kind of relax about it, because they're like, well, obviously I'm not going to say yes to her, but like she did call me pretty. So, and I know too, that's actually how I base how attractive I am also, because it's not as fun when a girl that you find unattractive flirts with you. I've been in that situation before, and it's mostly just awkward because you're like, if I play too much into this could have like the natural repercussion of like me making out with this chick, and I'm not like interested in that dialogue option. So you have to like kind of guard yourself in those situations. And I think that, I don't know, I wonder if guys have that problem too. Like if they're flirting with a girl that they don't find attractive, which I don't know why they would, but I'm certain that that's been the case at least at some point, where you're just like, yeah, she's not really my type, but like maybe I'll just like say something nice or whatever, and then that girl like wants to act on you. There's got to be somebody that's had that happen to them. If so, join the Discord and write a cheeky little note about it in the Rants Tea section. I'd love to hear about it, because I am writing more male dialogue and stuff like that in the coming novels. So maybe I'll put one of your like little situations, like, you know, one of your little back and forths in a character diagram. But anyway, I will be hopping onto the Discord. We're gonna, right on time, perfect, at 10 p.m. we start. So we're gonna go watch movies. I'll see